Welcome back to the LCS and the State Farm Analyst Desk, where we've got Dignitas looking to do the impossible in taking down 100 Thieves, or at least that's what I would have said until last week happened.
And 1 and 2.
When 100 Thieves took a couple hits to their record, as we can see behind us. So Mark, coming to you on this, a team that looked to be, unbeatable for a good portion of the summer split finally fell into some unlikely opponents. Is it time to worry? Should I be worried about this squad?
I would not be too worried. I think the Golden Guardians loss, you can look at the draft a little bit. That was a bit sus with the Yasuo lock-in. The EG loss was more legitimate, but they're arguably the hottest team in the league right now. So I don't feel like if I'm 100 Thieves, I'm panicking yet. They still feel like they're trying things out and learning.
I mean, so within that, if it's not time to panic, I guess my next question becomes, Emily, what in these games that we saw of last week would be something we can pull from on the side of Dignitas to maybe pick apart 100 Thieves?
I think 100 Thieves, where they make the most mistakes, is typically in the mid game, where I remember saying going into last week, and then they went 1 and 2, that was gonna be a lot harsher on this team, right? Because now it's not just about being the best team in the LCS, it's about maintaining that and vying for a championship. And this is what 100 Thieves have been aiming for. I think a lot of their objective setups can be kind of suspect, the way that they come around. I think the first game, to Mark's point, the draft was something that they were obviously testing out that didn't work, which is fine. But I think against Evil Geniuses were able to execute their composition at a higher level and take apart some of the things that 100 Thieves grew a bit lax on in terms of mid-game objective setups and seeing the map more holistically, I guess, like cross-map trading, basically.
Yeah, and I think that when you have a look at someone like Dignitas, especially with a jungler like Acadian who's willing to make proactive plays, that this should be, in theory, a pretty good matchup for him because Closer plays the game in a pretty similar way. And I always say that if you're playing against a good team, you want to be playing against a good team that at least does something because then it allows you to make your plays. If a great team is like one of those suffocating good teams that kind of just slowly pressures you out of the map, that is actually quite difficult. But 100 Thieves are quite proactive, and that means, as Emily's saying, sometimes they can make mistakes in their setup and they go for a lot of plays, and you just have to hope that you nab one of them early enough that you get a lead and you're able to push through.
I think it's just the strengths of the two teams match up actually quite well because if I'm Dignitasing how I want to win most of my games, it's like Acadian ganking bot lane with Afromu and setting Neo up. That's hard when you're playing
when you're going into FBI.
Yes, I think Dignitas do have a pretty clear identity for how they want to play, but their solo laners for me are a little weaker than 100 Thieves, and then like we're saying, they're attacking the strength.
Yeah, so then what you do is you hope that the mind control tactic comes in.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, Reaper's like, you know what, FBI, you're really great at being aggressive, but for some reason, I feel like we got to get on this Ziggs hype train. And then they leave up Neo's Callista,
or
and
they
they
pick
just
Lulu again.
Yeah, and then they just exploded the game through the bottom lane, and because that's where similarities and strengths, if you are experimenting on the LCS stage, can bite you in the bum.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, they could just swap the Ziggs to Huhi and
put Senna back in.
Yeah, and still have FBI on a carry where he can kind of play farther up in lane.
But to that point, that is how they lost their EG game. It was the Ignar Thresh that kind of popped off and killed Huhi a couple of times. So when you are meeting strengths, it is a little scary. But if you do actually get the advantage on FBI Huhi, that feels like, okay, well, now what do they do? Because they rely so much on them.
Alternatively, 100 Thieves are the better team, right?
Yeah.
And so when you match...
Alternatively, I don't know if alternatively needed to be the qualifier there. I think that was just a pure statement.
When you have two teams that have a very similar playstyle and one is better than the other, it actually ends up being really hard for a team like Dignitas to be able to contest this. And I think, if anything, we already pointed to the Acadian point, I think it's going to come through mid-jungle, and if Acadian can play more to his lanes rather than Closer, who sometimes will play more for himself and have Abadaga play for him.
That's the other thing I was going to throw in there was we kind of glanced over solo lanes where I was like, yeah, they're better for 100.
Yeah, there's a lot of focus on bot side.
Yeah, I feel like that is the other difficult part is the flexibility that comes with the solo laners right now for 100 Thieves, where it's like, okay, some days popping off on Gwen sometimes, Abadaga can play whatever's in the game. It just feels more difficult for Dignitas.
Yeah, I think there is a world where you could probably set this mid lane matchup as the best mid laner in the LCS at the moment versus maybe the worst mid laner in the LCS.
Ooh, we should have had you in for that mid lane tier list the other week. Now
you would have agreed
super
with
curious.
Kaiser's
list, yeah, without a doubt. All right, well, there's the prep. That's the prep we need for 100 Thieves versus Dignitas. We'll see if 100 Thieves can surge back out to a lead in the LCS or if Dignitas will have a say in that matter. Captain Flowers, Kobe, Take it away.
You know, after game 1, I said game 2's got to live up to what we just saw. And now after game 2, I'm here to tell y'all right now, game 3 better be raising the bar even higher up. We can go further beyond, my friend.
The
yeah.
rookie numbers we just saw, we're going to pump those up.
Oh, we got rookie numbers so far. We're looking to turn them into professional numbers. Let's see what we can get here in this game. 100 Thieves and Dignitas. I'm ready to see it.
I mean, after the last couple of games, I am ready for anything here, okay? I'm going to be predicting and expecting the turn. You know, one team gets Baron, they're pushing you in your base. Guess what? Perfect opportunity to
ace
them. Every
That's when you can get 'em.
inconvenience, every hurdle, every difficulty you face in life should actually just be looked at as an opportunity to go for it, engage. Just engage on that problem in your life, Flowers.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. If you're struggling with a problem at home, sometimes you just got to engage your problem. Face it head on. Be ready to turn that game around, steal that Baron, get that ace.
You know, feeling
Turn it into a motivational speech, sort of.
You're feeling that creative block, you know, at work. You got some problem you just can't solve. Get in there. Recon ult that problem.
Hell yeah.
Our advice
I'll
here.
take that over any of that like self-help guru stuff on Twitter. This is way better. Just recon ult yourself to victory. That's what I love to hear. Y'all got the power inside you. I believe in each and every one. Now, I believe in this draft. Let's see what we're about to get. It's Irelia banned away first and foremost from 100 Thieves.
Ooh.
Let's see what Dignitas want to respond with. They won't be able to pick up some of that new hype there like we saw in the last game in the form of the Irelia. Probably going to see a lot of the same types of bans that we have been seeing. Not expecting Xin Zhao to get through any ban phases anytime soon.
Yeah, Aurelia is definitely the type of champion that I like to ban out, especially after reworks like this, where she just gets into this very difficult problem to solve for any person on your team in the 1v1, but even now too with the extra robustness of the champion, even in a 5-on-5 it becomes difficult to solve. So take it off the table, just solve it before you even get to the game, Flowers. Ban it right out. Meanwhile, our jungle dichotomy is still available here with the Diana as well as Viego and Gwen still available.
Yep. Irelia, Renekton, Xin Zhao, Kalista, Gwen banned
got
away.
one.
So Viego's still up.
Let me get the other one.
Diana's still up. So one of those two has to get through.
Honestly, it comes down to which type of solo laner do you want to pick instead. Honestly, I do think the Viego's a bit more flexible as well. Diana, yes, you can play it mid lane, but there's a lot of mid lane matchups that you can deny it a little bit easier. And it's definitely not as popular among the mid lane players because it is so heavily favored to the jungle. So I like this option. You ban out the more flexible one that we're talking about. And Viego, take a seat.
Yeah, Viego's not available here any longer. That Diana's still there for first pick if 100 Thieves want it, but they still have about 10 more seconds to decide how they want to shape this draft here. Abbedagga and Closer have been popping off pretty hard for this squad in their best looking moments. Someday, of course, always a staple in the top lane too. So they'll lock in that Diana here, and we're assuming this is Closers.
We've had a lot of good Diana plays. Closer, Spica. We'd have had very big Wombo combos. I'm always looking for other large AoE champions that excel with grouping your opponents up. Definitely some super fun ones out there. Mostly the attack damage ones are the ones that are getting big play because you do want Diana to be facing teams that aren't going to be stacking a lot of magic resistance. Ziggs continues to reign supreme, though, as far as the priority on the bottom side of the map, as long as Kalista is banned out. I want to see if this priority, this kind of blind allegiance to the Ziggs church continues, Flowers. I want to see some Draven lock in, okay? Because Draven is one that will punk Ziggs out of that lane. You just walk up,
Just start smacking them with the axe.
It's a very similar strategy to most of the opportunities to pick Draven. You pick an aggressive
Walk
support
up and start hitting him.
and you play aggro in lane. You punish him. You don't let Ziggs even get close to your tower. Draven's very decent matchup into it, and I've seen it used already in the LPL. So hoping that we get some more, AD carries willing to dip into those more specific counter picks.
Okay, well, we've got the Lee Sin locked in next to the Ziggs. And with Aphelios picked up here for 100 Thieves, I am expecting them to pick a defensive support. Hovering over the Braum here, we know Thresh is also very commonly chosen next to Aphelios, but no, they're going to leave the support open for the second half of the draft, also the second half of the bans, and lock in the Lucian instead.
Okay, so we're expecting, attack damage, so Linus from 100 Thieves. It's not anything with structure here. The Lucian does push and Diana wants to farm, so it actually changes your Lucian lane a little bit, where in the early stages you don't play it as aggressively as sometimes when you play these Lucian matchups. Also, it is into possible flex picks here from Dig, so basically blind Lucian matchup here for Abbedagge without a super early ganking jungler, and it's into a Lee Sin, which is going to have a lot more flexibility than the Diana early on.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see if Acadian can make his presence felt, because looking at just the two players, not even the two champions, Acadian has invested heavily in his time in Dignitas in early ganks, sacrificing camps. He's very willing to go level 3, skipping Raptors, skipping Krugs, going for the level 3 ganks for the influence on those laning matchups. And this is definitely a champion where he can do similar things.
Well, we've got two supports banned out here from Dignitas in the second half of the draft. The Braum that was hovered earlier, as well as that Leona. And you talked a lot in the first game of the day about how effective Leona and Diana are as a duo once you get into the part of the game where they can roam around together. So makes sense for both of those bans to come out, as well as we're seeing the Nocturne banned away here by 100 Thieves. One more ban to go from them. Do they want to continue to try to target similar champions? Do they want to switch it up? Yes, the LeBlanc will be the final ban of the draft.
Yeah, LeBlanc definitely can be difficult to deal with, especially if you don't have point-and-click CC on your team. One of the biggest and most annoying things is if you get to mid stages of the game, especially if LeBlanc had a good early game, and you don't have a stun, the poke that comes from distortion in, and especially with the Cosmic Drive build from LeBlanc's, where their cooldown reduction becomes very, very annoying. You're just constantly getting harasser without possible answers. So taking off this possibility there from Yasui. Meanwhile, they're going to keep Yasui's pick shrouded in mystery, even with the Lucian already showing. They want full commitment from 100 Thieves that it will be a mid lane Lucian, not a top lane Lucian. And they just blind pick the Gnar instead for Fate God first. Just saying, you know what, someday, whatever. Fate God has had his time. He's grown past this rivalry. Someday is the one who deposed him from the starting top lane spot, and he was always, playing Academy to him, playing under. Oh, is it going to be top lane Tom Kench for it?
Kench!
Let's go!
He's not. I'm hoping to see him in the top lane.
It's got to be top lane. So I have jungled it. It is definitely not jungleable because the AoE is not there. Support is doable, but
it's not the defensive option it used to be.
Yeah,
right?
Come on, play it top.
This is
the ultimate.
Not the Devourer that is able to save an ally like Aphelios. Instead, that laning phase will be much more vulnerable. It is a support Tom Kench. It is the reworked Tom Kench. He is not a third summoner spell any longer.
Yeah.
We'll see how this works, but it will be Mundo there in the top lane for someday.
So fourth lane is just a bit more aggressive lane, because Tom Kench, you want to super aggressively using your Q, your tongue lash, and you do have options for really good jungle setup. So what the support Tom Kench can give you is, especially if you get brush control, slide into those brush, cast your W. It's very difficult, especially without any extra move speed or dash abilities to get away from a W after it's cast if it's not in vision. If it's in vision, super easy to avoid, but definitely doable the other way around.
But we got Kayn! It's Kayn over on the side of Dignitas here for Acadian, which means Yasui will actually be the pilot here of the Lee Sin in mid. So entirely physical damage top half of the map for Dignitas, which will make the itemization of champions like Tom Kench and Mundo easier. So, or not Tom Kench and Mundo. Well, both of them technically, but Tom Kench isn't going to be up there this early on.
I'm expecting actually a red Kayn transformation. It was buffed back up. Previously, we had a long stretch where it was only blue Kayns, but the blue Kayn.
Blues are Kayn.
Blue Kayn is still open, open for choice here for Acadian. But I actually think this would probably be a good red Kayn form. We'll see early on, depending on which lane he ganks. If he's going for the Lucian, for the Aphelios, get your blue orbs. then he'll easily be able to go into that one. Plus, we can also get indication by your rune choice if he's Conqueror.
Yeah, Conqueror pretty much always means the red one historically.
Yeah.
But we did see the popularization of sort of like the hybrid type feel there for a while with the blue cane that would build a Gore Drinker just because of how effective it was at adding on to his burst. And Gore Drinker Muramana was the souse there for quite a while. But let's see how Acadian's going to play. It does have the Conqueror here.
All right.
So we are expecting a build that favors those extended fights instead of the one-shots. But remember, we need to see an early and active Acadian. If you get to the 15-minute mark and Kane's still sitting there with almost no orbs unevolved, congratulations, you've got 4.5 champions on your team.
Yeah, it's definitely a sad one. We've had some super long transformation times in the LCS that had very poor results. Attempt at the level 1 brush trekking here. I like that with the setup that they have, you know, Nautilus as well as Ziggs. Ooh. Those walls, man, those things just jump out at you.
Yeah, just show up out of nowhere. But
thicker than they used to be, Flowers. They don't make them like they used to.
Yeah, not on the back in my day. The Rift looked all different. We didn't even have all this stuff on it.
You know, it's funny because actually back in my day, before they reworked the visual for Summoner's Rift, it literally looked different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was playing back then too. It looked all memey and half the characters had pizza feet.
We are dating ourselves. The boomer cast up here.
We're booming, buddy. We're booming. But remember that if you want to learn how to play some League of Legends a little bit better than you currently do, you can check out our free ProView matchup for this game in the support role. You can check out who he play in that reworked Tom Kench up against Afro Moose Nautilus and see how to become the playmaker we all know you can be. Now, Dignitas will be starting their jungler off here in the bottom side with a leash, while 100 Thieves will be doing the same thing on the other side of the map.
Yeah, only difference is the deep ward on Raptors. This is other common side start for Kane. You don't have to get Alicia's Kane.
Right.
Kane can always, because of the clearing power of Cube, just start his own Raptors, no problem. Do red side over towards blue quadrant, but does get the leash from bottom side because guess what? Ziggs Nautilus, level 1. They're just going to let the Aphelios TK push anyway. As we said, Tom Kench after the rework, you do not have basic ability to devour. That is the main thing to hammer home, but you do have very aggressive options for bottom side with the Q and the possible damage output versus melee supports. Tom Kench, you have to be very fearful of it, and that usually allows TK to get bottom lane brush control if you're not against, you know, range champions. And then you can look for opportunities with your W to set up your jungler for ganks, but that's further down the road. As of right now, it is Aphelios, and by nature of starting out always with your sniper gun makes it quite easy to get control of quite a few lanes early on.
Well, Neo and Afromu will be fine just sitting back here a little bit for now. Acadian has gone for the full clear through his jungle, as you often see Kane do, and it means that he didn't move into the Wraith Pit before the ward expired. So they did not actually see him go in there, so they don't have 100% knowledge on where he is at, but of course it is easy to assume.
Yeah, you go process of elimination. Well, he didn't start up on his red quadrant, and I cleared my blue quadrant, and I'm currently in my own red.
Where could he be?
Where did he go?
He likes to power farm. Anyway, he's going into the bottom lane, gets the knock up onto both enemy players. 100 Thieves win that trade pretty decisively, and FBI's not even done yet. Nicely done here.
It's actually one of the funniest abilities to watch now that he does it all the time too, and you see the channel from Tom Kench.
Jump and bop.
Surprise! There's a catfish under you.
It's such a fun animation. That's the one thing I wish about Tom Kench is that he was a champion. I wish he was a melee carry because his crit animation is he slaps out his tongue and bonks you over the head with. It's a downward tongue chop.
Orbs.
But right now, Acadian's going in for some orbs, for some damage. Abadaga has to flash to stay alive.
That is some good value for the Kane time. Full clear up through top side, pass through mid, get a bunch of orbs for yourselves. These ones are blue, but also chunks out. Abadaga gets the flash, was critical for this Lucian. Remember from Champs, like we said, if you're drafting the Diana with your Lucian has to play a little bit differently for your early lane phase here. And now without flash and without teleport, Abadaga much more cautious on this Lucian. Very wary when going for some of these aggressive trades onto Yasui. The big advantage, though, of course, with the teleport, he got his back, so got his purchase in. Cull double longsword start from him. He was chipping away at his Cull very early on with that start, so it's already all the way down to 70.
And he does have a nice little modest farm lead over his opponent. Yasui's doing a pretty good job keeping it close here.
Yeah, and a big reason for that buy, kind of like we expected with the jungle discrepancy for, possible early moves. Guess what? He's not going to play super aggressively, try and kill you, so he's going to get out his little advantage that way by purchasing the Cole, because he's sacrificing some defense for the all-in, but not a tremendous worry for him.
If you're playing Lucian, you need to get something extra out of the laning phase, right? You'd want it to be the ability to play aggressive and zone your opponent away, but if you can't get that because of the jungle, hey, at least Cole is going to pay you that extra 450 gold once you farm it off. But 100 Thieves going for a play down here in the bottom lane. That was not the play that they were looking for. FBI with a heal, but the teleport in from Fake God means that 100 Thieves lose their AD carry, and the support's now in a bad spot too. A good flash gets Huhi away, and Fake God's not able to find the punish, but now just a massive error from Closer makes him lose his own flash, getting caught there for no reason.
That right there, Fake God covering on bottom side, puts a stop to all these 100 Thieves' dreams of glory. 100 Thieves riding so much off this dominant bottom lane of FBI and Huhi, but the dive set up. Good answered teleport there from Fake God. Gets the counter kill, first blood cash in, and by virtue of landing that hook, Aphromoo even gets the extra summoner spell out of Closer. Diana isn't going to be able to make the first big flash play, which is what you love to do once you get access to your ultimate. Here's another look at starting out that dive. Huhi took a tower aggro really early with the tongue lash, and so flashing out there as well after getting exhausted for FBI, still gets slowed down by the boomerang, and they're back at it.
Oh, but we're not done. And Closer, remember, he's got no flash, so it's an easy pick here for Dignitas. Neo grabbing that kill, his first one of the game. Dignitas is second. Enemy jungler's dead. It's time for Drake.
Dude, this is like a murder mystery, Flowers. We come back out of a replay. What is going on my screen? How did he get there? Who did that? Well, Dignitas did it with
Neo with the bomb in the river.
But the real question of the mystery is, why is Closer in there? Well, where's the rest of the team? What gave him authority to walk into the Dignitas jungle? Well, guess what? Nobody did, so they take him down and take the dragon.
I mean, we've asked that question. What is Closer doing there in the same spot in the bottom river twice in 1 minute? So clearly this area not doing him any favors right about now.
Gonna put a patent on that?
Yeah, we're going to need to unless he cleans up his act here a little bit. So Dignitas getting themselves a good early lead up here in the top lane. Farm is even between the two. Of course, we know Mundo will scale into a hyper tank as the game moves forward, and he's already at the point where he's feeling all right, just farming up underneath the turret, despite the ranged harass of Fake God. And you can see there, comment on Mundo makes his trading that much more effective, just landing the single cleavers and getting the bonus damage.
Yeah, Mundo's laning became a lot more robust with the changes, not just relying on cleaver and moving up for auto attacks. The new E swiping minions through on death feels so good, gives him a lot more choice with how he wants to play lanes. So someday taking advantage of that there. We always like to revisit, when you've got Fake God versus Someday, both of them kind of under the same organization for a long time with 100 Thieves. How he gets to play it now, as Fake God has really come into his own on Dignitas, and it was a big part of Dignitas' surge up to the top. Yeah, they had other roster moves since then that have made things a bit shaky, but Fake God definitely earning himself his starting spot in the LCS.
I mean, yeah, it was his teleport into the bottom lane that really made that first play for the first blood succeed like it did. Yasui now with a flash kick guarantees they're going to get another kill here in mid, despite the fact that Huhi and Closer show up. They're both too late.
That flash, look at him, look at right now. It just came off a couple seconds away. Abadaga didn't have anything to get away from that, so very good timing and execution from Dignitas. Yasui goes in, guess what? Kick flash, you're dead. And that's also going to be an objective picked up. Dignitas, first dragon, first 3 kills of the game, and during the replay will be first Rift Herald. Kick flash, this is a ward hop, really nicely done there by Yasui, right up into him. And Acadian is there again to cash in on some orbs on top of the assist. You get huge cash payout here from the Rift Trail plus top scuttle grab. This is just looking like a dream start for a Kane game, at least from jungle perspective, Captain Flowers.
Yep, He's stacking up the tier. He'll be working towards the Muramana. You can see the Iron Spike whip in the inventory going towards that Gore Drinker I'm talking about. So what we expected to see here from this champion.
The only caveat is that since you're repeat ganking on the Lucian, you're getting blue orbs from range champion damage.
True.
So we'll want to invest in taking down Tom Kench, maybe scrap a closer there. Hey, next time closer's out in the river, make sure Acadian gets at least a hit on him.
Just bop him one time there real quick.
Just one quick touch. Closer does have his flash now, though, so the Diana, as we talked about, with flash ultimate available, you can make some really big plays for the team. And especially if you make that around Aphelios, the combination there, I really do like, especially if he's got Infernum, to be able to burst down some of these duels.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the 200 years Infernum on the Champions release. It was just like, hey, you don't have a team anymore, but it's still very strong.
Exactly. I said the same setup last week, and Freak had the same response of you. Oh, yeah, it's not the same, got nerfed. And then we still saw it on screen. I was like, you know what? It's still got some kick to it.
Yeah, it's still pretty strong.
Especially if he goes into lethality, lean into it a little bit there. Has some oomph.
Of course, their opponent's side is a little bit tankier, so less vulnerable to those pure lethality builds than what they might otherwise be, right? Like, it's easy for both the Gnar and the Nautilus to itemize some armor. Lee Sin can be the same way, so.
I can hear you. Every AD carry and every AD solo laner I ever have is like, this guy got Clark armor early. Steel caps. What a little baby. Come on, armor.
That's sometimes how she goes, though. You just got to be able to outplay the defensive stats. 40 seconds here until our second Drake of the game spawns. Dignitas have that first one for themselves. Despite the fact that Dig have 3 kills compared to nothing, 100 Thieves' farm and the couple of plates that they've got in mid and bottom have kept this game very close. Someday now chasing after Fake God, looking for even more here. But with Acadian roaming up to the top side, they won't continue any further.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a deeper invade since they already have the deep ward up by blue. It's scouted out by this control ward, but with the Rift Herald, this is a strong power play. Tom Kench can get there with the W, so who he's Roam Timer as support, definitely matching Afromu here, definitely providing that extra Tom Kench defense that you're looking for, even after the rework. Thus far, it has played out very similarly to previous iterations of the champion.
And Fake God will just continue shoving the wave. Some days pretty much perpetually stuck underneath this turret here as Gnar has priority over that wave. You can see that Dignitas has multiple men here in the mid lane getting this wave shoved out now as well. The Dragon has spawned. Nobody's down there just yet, but it will be Dignitas here with the first rotation. 1 ward placed in the river there by the side of 100 Thieves. That one's going to see what's going on, but it doesn't look like they have the manpower nearby to do much about it. So 2-0 Drake lead for Dignitas.
Keep on stacking all the neutral objectives. Rift Herald plus 2 dragons plus all 3 kills. And it looks fairly calm too. You know, the couple plays towards mid lane that they did that were the really momentous ones were very efficient. No time wasted. You know, Yusui, immediate ward hop in, kick flashes Abaddon, get back. You know, they get the one there. This Rift Herald immediately used. You're approaching 13 minutes, so if you are looking at wanting to get a reset, you don't want to be hard-pressed for time later on, getting right back out. Oh, we got to use the Rift Herald before these turret plates drop. You know, 14 minutes is approaching quickly. So just cash in there quickly. Yeah, it's not the biggest, you know, exchange, but does get the expected value of the extra turret plates for them and chip out on mid.
Yep, the plating will soon fall. As you heard the announcer say, the gold is dead even here. Dignitas having been making the plays so far, we want to see them continue to do that as we're just about into the mid game here. Neo teleporting back down into bottom lane, using the power of that extra TP. You talked about it a little bit in the previous game, how this is something especially to consider as we get later and later. Dignitas will have that extra macro advantage, that extra ability to position someone somewhere else besides the main stage of action.
And especially since it is Ziggs who can teleport in, instantly wave clear, plus throw his ultimate, instantly wave clear. It gives you a lot of control towards the mid stages of the game where teams are trying to make these macro decisions based on pushing waves, rotating over for tower conversions to be able to cash in on that standing gold on the map. And Ziggs really does give you that extra lever to pull, as you know, you can answer other minion waves that, unless you have GP or something on your team, you don't really get access to that other branch of a decision tree.
Yep. Well, back here in bottom lane, 100 Thieves are bringing Closer down. We'll see if there's a play to be made, who he's going to find himself on a control ward here. So they'll clear that one out of the way, as Closer will also be spotted by that right before it is taken out of the picture. Dignitas are building that gold lead up here a little bit further as Fake God continues to maintain pressure here in the top lane against his opponent, but it's actually Someday who has the farm lead in this 1v1 matchup. Chains of Anathema as his first item. Worth pointing out, this is very good in the 1v1, but if you find yourself in a team fight, remember you've only got one person marked. Abadaga could be in a bad spot. Yasui jumps in. Closer's ready there for backup, so they won't go any further.
Yeah, and I like to point out, especially because Mundo is the champion that rushes this, because Mundo scales so well with health, and it builds straight out of health, so feels quite nice to get into, especially since top lane is so isolated. When you first complete it, you just put it on the Gnar.
Yeah.
Because that's his opponent. This is
that's the guy you're playing against.
island. This is the 1v1. But you do get to transfer it later to biggest threat on the opponent team. And it takes, yes, a minute to stack up the passive as you'll gain power slowly as each stack is acquired. But you don't get to immediately switch it as you transition into team fight. So you have to take a little bit of forethought as you're going to transition out of 1v1 scenarios and towards the team play.
Well, Dignitas are going for the second Rift Herald here. Doesn't look like there'll be much of a contest from the side of 100 Thieves. Someday is over the wall. He'll throw out a cleaver, but other than that, not a whole lot to be spoken of. So Rift Herald number 2 going over to Dig.
In exchange for Aphelios pushing on bottom side, there goes Zig's ultimate. Doesn't quite finish them all off. Decent amount of damage still done by FBI, but will ensure that he's going to have to wait for more minion waves and gives you a little bit of a timing advantage here for Dig as you finish up with yet another neutral objective into tower kill for themselves. That is first turret bonus on top of it, Flowers. The check mark of the list of objectives has been all yellow, all Dignitas.
Okay, Yasui's going in after Huhi here. Acadian right behind him. They're finding some nice damage, but Closer wants to turn it around. Yasui going back, looking to turn onto him while Aframu's able to tank up here in the 2v2 on the other side. Yasui and Acadian grabbing the first kill. The second one going back over to Neo. It is a double kill, make it 3 dead on the side of 100 Thieves. Someday gets away, Acadian goes in. He's taking a lot of aggro now. He's got to get himself all the way out. Will he be able to make it? Yes, he will. Culling comes through, and it's tanked back and forth by Afro and Fake God. Dignitas made it happen.
And he lives. Acadian gets the dream scenario. Bunch of red orbs whacking down Closer. He gets the extra kill for the team. That's 3 in the hands of Neo. Bounty on his head now on top of it. Dignitas are just running 100 Thieves into the ground here, Flowers. What is happening today? Every team with a better record getting upset thus far. We have also had surprise endings, though, so maybe 100 Thieves seen this, and they're waiting for the big counterplay.
Well, let's take another look at how they found this play. It looked like they were trying to bench the Kench, but then Closer said no.
Yeah, all right, okay, so Closer ults in. Immediate ultimate there from Acadian to avoid the damage, because Diana ultimate is very easy to avoid. The suck in is the first part, so Acadian just uses the ultimate of his own to jump inside here, doesn't get hit with the damage, they chase her down. Rest of Team Dignitas all commit to this, by the way. It's the full commitment with the teleport in, so they pick off the extra kill there on Aphelios on the opposite side while the two members are diving, and now it's onto the dragon.
Okay, Dignitas want to contest this one. Aphelios ulti coming down. Acadian is low on HP. Someday's still in the pit providing threat. FBI with a ton of chakrams ready to go, but the dragon's going over to Dig and Acadian. Fake God wants to get away now. Aframu has already died. It is Drake for 1. Dignitas are happy with this trade, but how else can 100 Thieves respond? They'll continue chasing them away, but Dig are able to disengage this one. You'd still call that a win here for this team.
Yeah, gets them 2 soul point at only 18:48 into the game. Definitely a very quick pace for them. Some gold given back over 200 Thieves, picking up a little bit for themselves, though, taking down Aframu.
And I do want to point out, we see Acadian transformed into the blue form. This is what I'm talking about, the blue transformation with bruiser type items, the Blueser Cane.
Yeah.
Goes Conqueror, goes Gore Drinker, but has the blue evolution for greater mobility. And we'll see how hard he's able to pop off in these team fights with this.
And it's also, too, I feel like you'll just never want to wait around for the extended time for transforming. So especially in a lot of these ones where you are getting blue orbs, play right into it. It's got a cool nickname. You know, it's been finding success already, so get right in there. And it still does a lot of the damage. You don't have to go with the full commitment to squishy lethality because you bank on your later transformation of the Muramana. This adds so much damage to your spells.
Oh, yeah.
So you are both tanky to your point with the healing of your Gore Drinker and your Conqueror stacking up. You know, you have the support there for not getting insta-gibbed if you make a little error. You have some room. And you still have a large amount of damage output because of Muramana once you get that thing transformed.
And he's getting close, right? He's about 63 of that mana away there, so not too much longer, and that'll be up and running. Also, already having the Gore Drinker completed, plus those Ionian Boots of Lucidity makes it very easy for him to start pumping that ability haste, make those spells come out that much more quickly. Down here in the bottom lane, Fake God just continuing to farm up on the Gnar, making sure that he'll be ready here in these team fights to make the big plays that have brought Dignitas their advantage so far. The whole squad is ready to go, ready to engage, ready to team fight.
Is Abbedagga ready?
Abbedagga trying to get away here. Acadian drops the blue smite. That'll let him be able to ulti in. Follows it up with a little bit more damage and say hello to Big Ben. Fake God just chucks it at him to pick up the kill.
Yeah, look at that. Damage fine. Gore Drinker doesn't matter. Lethality, Mythic doesn't matter. Boom. They take him down. So Fake God throwing a house there at him for extra good measure, and Abbedagga is down. Dignitas just don't miss here, Captain Flowers. The only kill that they gave up in this game was sacrificing their support for getting to Soul Point.
Yeah,
everything else.
Trade.
Yeah, everything else has just been Dignitas all day.
Dignitas looking really good, but hey, it's like you said, based on the first two games, this is where Dignitas has to be careful.
M. Night Shyamalan is directing today for LCS.
All right, as long as it's better than Signs. I hated Signs. I thought that movie was terrible. One of the worst movies
I
I've
wasn't
ever
a fan of The Village either. You know.
Yeah, The Village also sucked. I thought that one was really bad. I remember watching The Village all the way through and then seeing the ending, and I went, wow. I'm really never going to get those hours back, huh? Yeah, it was just one of those
You get
situations.
a little angry.
So, no, I'm glad that I'm now realizing where our synergy comes from. That we agree on the really important
We're channeling
things
the same
in life, like how The Village and Signs both suck. Anyway, back into this game. Dignitas have over a 4,000 gold lead. They have Soul Point, as you already pointed out. Baron is up on the map. It's only 22 minutes in, so that one's still a little bit difficult to take. Yeah. But hey, you've got a minute and 15 seconds, and then that Soul's on the table, and you know 100 Thieves don't want to give that away this early.
Yeah, it's such a crunch for them, too, because they're looking down the line. They're like, okay, you know, if Velios is sitting on 2 items, they got the Hurricane here for him, but is FBI really going to be able to deal with how fed Dignitas have got themselves already? This Kayn, the Blueser, is difficult to nail down with so much mobility, as well as being able to use the ultimate to jump inside and buy time while you have other threats on the team that are looking to, you know, kick you in deeper towards the Mega Gnar.
Yeah.
It makes it very difficult to navigate. Tom Kench does have the Devour on ultimate ready, and he hasn't gotten to really put that on display this game yet. Also hasn't really been able to display the change for W being a basic ability and trying to use it to set up for jungle or set up for any plays. So they're still waiting, Flowers.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see him use it for a good trade back at level 2 or 3 in lane,
Yeah,
but that's about it so far. That doesn't really define the game. Acadian does have his Muramana completed. That just evolved about 30 seconds ago, so big damage boost here for the Kayn in the team fights now. They're collapsing, but they're collapsing onto a Kayn who can just run through the wall, so Acadian will not be caught out here. 100 Thieves are ready to answer. This should be a pretty big fight. Closer going for a little bit of damage onto Yasui, will not find it. Dignitas already have the Drake aggroed up on them. Yasui jumping back over the wall. Acadian is here as well. Neo's going to do everything he can to land as much damage as possible before this fight really breaks out. Someday below half HP, though, Mundo's looking pretty vulnerable right about now.
Yeah, also don't make Mundos like they used to. Getting chunked out here by
Back in my day.
Ziggs is really well situated to deal with it because, you know, Neo rushed the Leandries. You get so much bonus damage on high health targets. Here we go, though.
All right, Closer's the target. They're not going to find the Mega Gnar to kill him thanks to the stasis. He goes back into the pit, looking to outplay, looking to find some chance to get away from this one, but Acadian's able to take him down, going after the Mountain Soul now. Yasui's about to die. Neo will be the second if he's not careful. Someday keeps up the chase, and they've already picked up up 2. Dignitas want to disengage now. It is a 1 for 2. They lose an extra man, but they take the Mountain Soul.
They've woken up, Captain Flowers. Someday was like, yeah, fine, hook me out. They're not done yet, Aphelios.
Talking about hook me out, man. FBI's the target, but he stays alive thanks to the Immortal Shield Bow. Acadian goes right back in, and FBI goes right back down. Acadian's out of danger, and who he's going to be your next target. Aframu in the front line with Abadaga going in for the aggro, but Acadian's got the double kill. Acadian's got the triple kill. It's Acadian time, baby. The Cade is ready to bring it here on Summoner's Rift. A quadra kill for the Dignitas jungler.
All these peasants telling me Blueser is overrated. No way! Acadian's going to smurf on him now. That is going to be Dignitas inside the base, Flowers, for a second. You think 100 Thieves are walking back into this one, but Dignitas, they slam that sucker closed.
And the BM stasis, they'll just blast Closer right back into the spawn platform. They've got the minion wave. They don't have a Baron. They don't need it. Dignitas made this look easy, beating 100 Thieves into the ground.
They saw the script of the first 2 games with those crazy turnarounds and said, it's not happening to us.
Nope. That was an awesome showing with the Kayn pick. The evolution wasn't necessarily super fast either. It felt like, what, 16, 17 minutes by the time that he got evolved? But then once he did, it felt great. He was able to navigate the fights well, both before and after. And then just having that pop-off moment at the end, the quadra kill, the re-engage, knowing his limits there for Acadian, super cool to see.
And as well, it just felt so controlled for Dignitas for this entire game. While he wasn't getting a lot of orbs early, it was very effective when he did. Both the visits towards mid lane, burning the flash first, and then he repeats ganks. And right before the flash comes up, by the way, it was only maybe 4 seconds away from having Lucian's flash available. Yasui goes in, ward hop, kick flash, and they convert on the kill. They get the extra orb cash in. They've been getting every single neutral objective. Only one little blip on the radar there towards the last dragon fight. But clutches it in the end. Acadian sees the angle. He flashes back in to finish off FBI. That's the turning moment where their 3-person squad change from trying to retreat to, hey, we just won the game.
Yeah, let's take a head. I believe we have a replay here. So let's go ahead and take another heads-up look at this one.
Someday with teleport in, he flanks in behind the team. So I was watching this. I felt bad for Yasui because you see on the bottom right side, if you're not watching the flank, he actually got a perfect kick flash again onto Abadaga, but nobody was there. There was no damage. So they were all running from Mundo. Someday created so much space for them. Abadaga just dashes right back out, and they turn and get the kill on the Lee Sin instead. And so it turned it around. But this walk back into the dangerous area does open up FBI to the hook. It's here, though, where Acadian gets chunked down, and he says, you know what? There's only one way out of this. I'm flashing in for the kill. He barely lives. Ease through the wall to get the heal here. Then he can turn in for the extra double kill. With his Muramana, it does so much damage. Finishes off the second one, and that means Dignitas are going to be inside the base. Valiant effort there in the end for Someday, for 100 Thieves. You know, teleports back in after getting chunked out and was able to open up a pathway for them, but not as nice as the pathway for Dig or straight down mid.
And I want to praise Dignitas, but I'm also going to criticize 100 Thieves here. Closer in that bottom side river, no reason the first time loses his flash, no reason the second time dies. Dignitas being able to catch them out in their own jungle, Closer trying to re-engage. Their bottom lane not being in the right spot, they all die there again. Then in that final walk-off, the fact that FBI and Who Here are walking through there, and then they get caught there again, just a lot of mistakes from 100 Thieves and not a good look for a team that's been at the top of the table. So I'm going to criticize them and praise Dig at the same time. Dig had an awesome game, and congratulations to them for taking down the Thieves. We're heading to another break, but afterwards, Aframu's joining the State Farm Analyst Desk. We'll see you there.
I didn't order a pizza.
I know. But that Parker promo saved me so much on my insurance. Brought you a little something special.
Parker, State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
You're the man, man.
And you want the real deal? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk, where myself and Emily are joined by none other than Aframu following that Dignitas victory over 100 Thieves, continuing the day of upsets to follow the weekend of upsets just last week. What's going on in the LCS right now? Can you put a finger on why we're seeing so many of these upsets?
All I can really say is usually at the end of the split is when most teams start gelling and synergizing well together, playing for objectives and stuff like that. So whatever team is better at that right now currently is usually coming out on top.
So one thing when I talked to you at the very beginning of the split, way back with a different roster, one of the things you were like is, you had strong team fighting. You're going into the split trying to improve on the synergy that you developed. Obviously, you had several resets in that. So where do you think the team is at in terms of communication and synergy compared to the team you had in spring?
Well, obviously there's a lot of, trial and tribulations we had to go through, different styles with all of our swaps and stuff like that. But honestly, the past couple weeks, it's coming to fruition. I think we went 1-2 last weekend, so that sucked. We definitely thought we could have won a lot of those games, had a lot of blunders, but yeah, last week of practice, this week of practice going exceptionally well. And even on stage today where, we felt like we would get that draft no matter what. And shout out to Mabry, Draft Kingdom.
Let's talk about this because...
The Kane.
Yeah, the Kane, as well as the Ziggs, right? Ziggs is starting to pop up more and more, but I know specifically we got questions around the Kane for Acadian in the jungle.
You want my opinion about it? Oh,
yeah.
Did you?
Or where did it come from? Like, is this?
I think he's been playing it for a while. When he's in game, I mean, this dude wants to fight absolutely everything on Kane just so you can get your orbs, to stack up, get the form.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this meta is all about bruisers and fighting, which is what Kane wants to do. So yeah, go for it, man. It's broken.
Now, going into this matchup, I'm kind of curious just because going into this matchup, I was talking to the analysts about where they expect this game to be broken open, and most of them actually did point to the bot lane. And very early on, we saw 100 Thieves try and attack the bot lane.
Oh, yeah.
Fake God with the TP down helped you guys secure that early lead. Did you expect similarly that bot lane would be the focus for them from a playstyle perspective?
100 Thieves is a great team. Often, they always play through their bottom lane. Every game, that's usually where they find success. FBI, who he just, smurfing on most champions, and they set up a dive with closer. So that's what happened. We were prepared for it. It was a little weird of a dive. Oh, it's on the screen right here.
I think this is
It was a little weird because I don't think they can do this, especially if I have exhaust. And yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Ziggs has incredible
suddenly
control.
the wave is gone.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I was going to say, Ziggs has incredible control with the slow field as well as being able to eliminate all the creeps. Fake God coming in with the TP, that was pretty big to help pick up that first blood. But it continued for you guys. Like you said, it was just kind of like fight, fight, fight.
Yeah.
So do you feel like these fights need to be set up or more reactive, and it's just now about who's got better communication in the moment or who has the better setups?
Both, I would say. I know LPL, they can fight anything and everything without setup, just walk in and go. I think the meta, that's what it is right now, right? Whoever does have setup, executes well, more often than not, will win these, dragon fights. But if you are good at fighting with your team, like, you can probably just walk in and break it.
So one of the things, since you and the rest of your team cited that team fighting was something that in spring you got, everyone was on the same page. Like, you just for some reason had really, really strong team fighting. Where would you feel like this team is at now? Because you definitely looked a lot more well-coordinated in a lot of these fight setups, and you were able to split apart 100 Thieves a lot of time on the map.
Yeah, I think everybody's doing a really good job in talking about, their timers, where they can move, when to fight, when they're strong, power spikes and all that. And everybody's come a long way. We've been putting in a lot of hard work, so my teammates, excellent.
Like quadrant kill by Acadian there to kind of close things out. He did also pick up player of the game. My curiosity around him as a player, as he is someone who's been in and out of the LCS, and I know you've played against him at different points throughout your career.
Yeah.
What do you feel is the difference between a young Acadian and now a veteran Acadian in kind of his play style and approach to the game?
I would say he's a lot more patient and has a calm demeanor when he's in the game, where he makes sure everybody is on the right page. Because the jungler is like the glue for top side and bot side. So making sure everybody's focused on, do this objective, wait for my clear, we should fight here, let's go, giving those comms. And he's also really good at saying no, which is what you want your veteran players to do. Because usually the young guys are always like, oh, let's fight everything. Just jump in, I can outplay this. But yeah.
All right. Does he have to tell you no ever?
Sometimes.
Or okay.
Usually
all right.
we're-
So every once in a while,
Sometimes.
Avermu also has the go, go, go.
Sometimes.
That's something other teams have had, though. That's what, like said, that's really valuable, is someone to be like, maybe we don't do this.
Not
right now.
FlyQuest. They don't have a no guy at the moment. They have a go guy, no guy. All right, thank you so much, Avermu, for joining us on the desk. Congratulations on the victory. It's always a pleasure. On the other side here, we have Demonte making his LCS return as he and the rest of CLG face off against Team Liquid. Don't go anywhere.
It's time for Assist of the Week presented by State Farm. With Immortals bearing down on Tactical, the entirety of Team Liquid went into assist mode with Core JJ leading the charge.
Q gonna land. Galio here for the reinforcements again. Shield bow pops. That's gonna be enough to stay alive. Big taunt. Q's gonna land. Nocturne here. Ulti in for the Ziggs. Cannot get away. This is gonna be a dead Viego and a dead Alistair to boot. The counter engage. The defense is there.